The opinions expressed in this show are the views of the host and not necessarily that of WTRW, 94.3 The Talker, or the Bold Gold Media Group.
The following presentation is brought to you by the host of the program, who is solely responsible for its content.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Make a Change. I'm your host, Terry Martin, along with my producer, Tom Jenkins.
Good afternoon, Terry. How are you?
I'm very good, and here's your surprise. I brought you a lemon today.
Oh, my goodness. And if you look over here, let me grab my water bottle. What is in my water bottle?
Oh, that is cool.
That is, so this is an itty-bitty lemon.
Well, it's an organic lemon, but that's what our show is about today. It has an awful lot to do with lemons. I
had somebody asked me a question during the week. They said, Tom, I heard you on the radio with Terry. And I said, yeah. And that's on the show called Make a Change. I said, yeah. He said, what is that show about? They said, we were enthralled with what you were talking about, but what is the whole show about? And I said, that's a really good question. It's called Make a Change. And I explained to him, I said, it's about making changes. He goes, well, what kind of changes? I said, any changes you need to make. I said, we've started off with attitude changes, health changes with diet, exercising, skin changes, external changes, internal change. I said, any change you need to make to better yourself. I said, in every aspect of the way. And he goes, oh, well, it's kind of self-explanatory with the name then. I said, duh.
Well, I hope he enjoys the show, and if he keeps listening every week, he'll hear all of our new ideas.
Well, that's exactly what I told him. I said, you want to find out exactly? I said, you just keep listening every single Saturday afternoon.
Or go to our site, and he can click on and listen anytime that he wants to.
MaderiClinicals.com. Mm-hmm. So that's what Make a Change is all about, if you were wondering. And what is today's changing?
Well, today's show is about spring cleaning your vessel. And there's no better time than right now to begin spring cleaning your body, inside and out. We always think of cleaning our house and our yard in the spring, but this year, let's spring clean ourselves.
How?
By, again, making a change, not only in your life, but for your life.
That's interesting.
Did you ever see the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead?
Mm-mm.
I watched it again last night, but I watched it a couple months ago. And a movie like that, you really need to see twice. But what the story is about is this man came from Australia. He came to the United States, and he did a 60-day juice fast. And he did a documentary on that. And what he was saying is he needed to do this because the truth was he was, as he said, fat, sick, and nearly dead. He went to the doctors, 6 different doctors. He was 40 days in the hospital, and nothing helped. He was 309 pounds, and he was 53 and a half inches around his waist. And he said now he's on a mission of health because he was taking 11 different bottles, prescriptions of pills, day and night.
Phew.
And he said he was really glad that he got so sick because he knew if he didn't, he probably would have had a heart attack and be dead by now. Mm-hmm. But he also said that he had to make juice to supercharge his body because if he just tried to eat the regular food and tried to eat right, that wasn't enough for him. He had to supercharge his nutrition. Mm-hmm. And he came to the conclusion that your body could heal with proper nutrition because he remembered when he was a kid and he scraped his knees and how it didn't take any thought at all for his knees to heal. Right. And he said, it shouldn't take any thought at all for your body to heal. But when we are so overloaded, which he was absolutely if he was 309 pounds, that, he knew he had to do something to change. And he said that permanent results only come from permanent changes. And that if you do the crime, which for him it was eating, that you have to do the time.
Sure.
So now he had to make up for it. He said he was emotionally addicted to food, and normally he would eat 2 pieces of pizza. No, I'm sorry, he wouldn't eat 2 pieces of pizza, he ate 2 pizzas.
Oh, 2, okay.
So he said you have to tackle your food needs and your food thoughts in your head. It's not, see, that's where everything seems to always come back down to. Mm-hmm. What is in your mind? And he said you can't buy prepared juice in the jars because, of course, when they boil it and they whatever they do to put it,
All
to
the
bottle it
the
in the jars,
processing,
the
yeah.
processing. He said you have to make it daily because there's no quality left in the other kind.
Makes sense.
But he said there's no need to think, because we are getting older, that we are just normally going to be sick, or that we have to be sick. And a lot of us think that that just comes along with aging, but it doesn't have to. He said taking control of your food is a big challenge, and don't go for skinny, go for healthy. But in the show, this guy from Australia, he met a truck driver, and it just so happens he had some kind of rare disease. It was a skin disease. Somehow that, I don't know the name of it, but if you just got one little cut, it would just explode all over your whole arm or, your body. It was something that was just out of control. So when he came here, very hard to believe, he met this truck driver that had the same thing. So this truck driver was 429 pounds.
Wow.
And he was 6'1" with a body mass index of 58. And he asked this truck driver if he could help him. And he gave him his information, but the truck driver didn't say that he would want him to help. So meanwhile, this guy goes back to Australia. And then he realizes, he gives him a call. The truck driver gives the guy from Australia a call and asks if he could help him. And he came back over, set him up. I mean, this is a movie everyone just has to see. Because
what's the name of the movie again?
It's called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
Okay.
But, I can't say enough for the impression this documentary left on me. And needless to say, before I went to bed after the show, I made a green drink. And before I left this morning, I made another green drink because I feel that I do try, but again, I'm sure not hard enough. But I do have just a few more things to say about this truck driver. He said he was just one cheeseburger away from a heart attack. And he said that eating the food the way he did was a slow suicide just as much as he felt cigarettes were. But most inspiring, and to top all of this off, in the end of this movie, I couldn't believe it. It said, make a change. Make a change today. He said, reboot. But I feel this is where our society has lost the knowing that we do have the ability to heal. And many times, if the body was given time and good care, in many cases, it could do just that. Isn't it funny when you go to the doctors on the way out from the office, how many times you feel so much better? You just needed him to say so. You needed him to just tell you you'd be okay. Because our mind is then at ease. And you see, that's where the mind goes again.
Gotcha.
My grandfather told me a joke about a guy who came to work one day, and everyone who got there ahead of time decided they would play a joke on him. So when he came into work, one guy said to him, "Hey, you don't look so good today." And the guy said, "Yeah, he felt fine." And then the next joker said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Well, yes, I'm fine." And by the time they got finished with the last person joking with him and again asking how he was, he said, "Not so good." And he was going home because he was sick. So once again, you see, there is such power in the mind. This was only a suggestion, and he believed it. And it made him sick. Now, back to discussing what we can do.
I was just going to ask you, okay, now we know what the issues are, and the issues are in our mind.
A good share
Right.
of it is. But we can, through eating properly, resting, and taking all the measures possible so that our bodies can heal, we can and would see that we do have the ability to heal. God made us that way. But if you continue on the fast, processed, microwaved food plan, then where are you?
I spoke with a doctor one time, a friend of mine, and he had mentioned to me that there is absolutely no cure for any illness, for any disease, except for your own body. There's
Yes.
no pill, there's no medicine, there's no food, no nothing. There's nothing that can actually cure you. There's a lot of things that you can do to help your body cure itself, but there's absolutely nothing that can cure you. And he said, and if you don't give your body the stuff that it needs to help itself cure itself, then you're part of the problem, not part of the solution.
Well, Tom, what do you think about the commercials on television all the time? They're telling you about these pills to help you and then scaring you so bad. Why would you ever take them? What do you think? What do you think about that?
I go, you know what? I'll stick with the disease I have because I don't want those side effects. I know. And that's always the first question I ask. Like if I have to, there was a while back where my blood pressure was out of control and my doctor, we'll get you on a regimen here just to get it under control and see what we can do. And my first question was, what are the side effects? First one. Second was, what happens if I take this for too long? What are the long-term effects? He goes, well, aren't you worried about getting your blood pressure down? I said, yes, but I'm also worried about hurting myself in the long run. And my family doctor and I still butt heads on a lot of things.
Well, it's even hard to watch TV anymore because every commercial that comes up scares you. And it seems every commercial is a drug or a pill. What happened to the good old days? Again, I always go back to the good old days. Where were some funny commercials? Mm-hmm. But even if we have, well, I have to be careful there because I don't mean to say anything just even about our families. But many times when we're at picnics or anything, we're not talking about fun. We're talking about everybody's sicknesses because it seems everybody is sick.
It's funny that you brought that up. Not ha-ha funny.
No.
But speaking with the pediatrician the other day, the good thing about working in talk radio is that I get to talk to a lot of different people. And I was speaking with the pediatrician the other day, and he had told me that a lot of parents now are starting to get angry at him because when they call him because there's something wrong with their child, they have a fever or a cold or the sniffles or a sore throat or an earache or whatever, he says, make sure they drink enough fluids and give them some rest for a couple days. And if they're still suffering from it 3 to 4 days from now, then call me back. Well, he was telling me the parents get very angry with him because they want their kids fixed now.
Oh, right.
And what he said to them, he said, listen, there are so many people now, late teenagers, people in their early 20s, that they're constantly sick because when they were children, the pediatricians were immediately putting them on antibiotics when they were sick. And they were so pumped full of this medication when they were children that their bodies can't fight off the simple illnesses like a cold or even, just like even a slight chest congestion. They can't fight it off. And it always gets worse because of all that. He said, so what? He goes, what I've been doing, he goes, and I'm just as much to blame. I did that about 15, 20 years ago too. He goes, but today, no, I don't want kids on antibiotics unless they absolutely 100% need them. And I said, I wish your office was closer to my house because I'd love to bring my kids to you.
Well, this reminds me of someone that I met in the past that their baby was teething. Well, we used to give them something to chew on, even if it was a wooden clothespin. Mm-hmm. But instead, from a very early age, she was giving that child Tylenol all the time. Mm-hmm. She said, you know what? I don't want him to experience the pain. Could that be the beginning of a drug addiction? We have the ability to go to any drugstore and get any of these over the counter. And we just don't think that they're dangerous because they're over the counter. But, they are.
The best thing to do with the kids that I've learned through my experience is if you're not sure, call your pediatrician's office. If you can't talk to the doctor, nine times out of 10, they've got a nurse on hand that will go to the doctor and call you right back. Especially with my kids. I mean, I have a little girl now. She's almost 2. And
Daddy's girl.
Oh, gosh, yeah. And she, her teeth, it's taking forever. She just, her first tooth got cut after she was 1. So she's got 4 of them now and 2 more. I mean, now these poor teeth are popping on this poor kid. And they'll be late at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, she's in there screaming because, the nose is running. She's got a slight fever because of the teething, which I learned by calling my pediatrician. She's not sick, she's teething. And instead of giving her the baby Tylenol or the baby Motrin or whatever, we have these little rubber things that we keep in the fridge. And I'll run downstairs and grab 1 or 2 of them and come up and give them to her, and she'll grab them and just shove them in her mouth, and they're ice cold. They feel so good on her gums, and she's back to sleep in 15 minutes.
And the more that they chew and
it helps
gum
with
it
the
or
gums.
whatever makes the teeth come out quicker, I would think. Just let them work it out.
Well, on that note, let's take a quick little break. We're talking off topic as usual, but Terry started talking about the fast processed microwave food, putting the garbage into our bodies. How can we get better? And it's more or less spring cleaning inside and out. And when we get back, Terry's got some great suggestions on how we can do this internal spring cleaning. You are listening to Make a Change on 94.3 FM The Talker. I am Tom Jenkins, along with the host of Make a Change, Terry Martin, and we will be right back. Mederi Clinicals, a unique skincare company, has a complete skincare line for men and women. From anti-aging to glycolic and even a clinical line for sensitive skin, Mederi Clinicals is for you. Their number one product? Forgiveness. It's the secret to younger looking and younger acting skin. You can experience the transformation with fewer wrinkles, firmer skin, and a more youthful, radiant complexion. Treat aging, sun damage, rosacea, and more with Forgiveness. Plus, buy one bottle of Forgiveness, get one lip enhancing complex for free. Forgiveness. Apply it morning and night and keep forgiving and forgetting all through the day. Make a change with Mederi Clinicals. Balance, restore, look and feel new. Mederi Clinicals, a complete skincare company for men and women. Call 866-646-3374 or check out MederiClinicals.com. MEDERI Clinicals.com. Welcome back to Make a Change on 94.3 FM The Talker. I am Tom Jenkins, along with your host of Make a Change, Terry Martin. If, of course, you have any questions for Terry, you want to get a hold of her, you want to shoot her an email or whatever, you can always give her a call at 866-646-3374 or go to their webpage, MederiClinicals.com, MederiClinicals.com, and it's spelled MEDERI, and all the information is there that you need as well. And you can listen to any of the past shows. I believe you have them up there on your webpage.
Yes, we do.
So awesome. So being that the weather's finally getting nicer, finally, we're talking about spring cleaning. Not the spring cleaning that you're used to, like your house or your vehicle, which I have to do, but your body inside and out. And that's where we left off in the last segment.
And recapping a little about the fast food, microwaved, processed food. And I said, so where are you if that's the way you're eating? And you can see the results and how you're feeling. And I can tell you how you are. You're with a sick body. Mm-hmm. And that only continues to get, your body only continues to get sicker and weaker until you understand what's causing it.
And now my question for you is I remember when I was younger, I used to eat all the garbage, but I felt fine. Mm-hmm. How do I know my body's getting sicker?
Oh, believe me, you can tell as you, just in probably even in gaining weight, how you just don't have the energy you used to have. Where we were talking about aging, I think we blame aging an awful lot for that's the way it's supposed to be, instead of understanding those are the symptoms.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we do need to recognize that those
easy for you to say, telltale signs.
The telltale signs that we've talked about in other shows. If we would just take care of those little issues, or at least realize when they're there, that something is amiss here, something is not quite right, that possibly we could avoid a calamity. Just an example, maybe a goofy example, but if there was a string on your skirt or pant hem, it was hanging, you realize you need to sew it, but instead you just pull it.
I was just going to say, I don't think I have to sew it. I'm ripping that puppy off.
Right, but then what happens? You
usually rip out the seam.
Right, and your hem is hanging down. But if we just got the needle out and fixed it in the beginning, it would be the right thing to do. But in many cases, we don't, and look what happens. It's the same thing with our bodies.
That's not a silly example. That's a really good example of what happens.
Well, when we know something isn't going right, we can feel something's wrong. It's a little nuisance, you know what I mean. It's an annoyance. And an example, or a few examples, are if you have indigestion, what do you normally do?
I'm just take an antacid pill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some people think that actually fixes their indigestion. And no, you only temporarily are getting relief. And what caused it?
Usually something I ate. Something that my body goes, no thank you.
And if you continually have packs of antacids all over the place, do you think that's normal?
No, and I can tell you from experience what happens when you rely on antacids for indigestion for too long.
Yeah, what happened?
Kidney stones.
Is that what they say?
Terrible, terrible, painful, bleeding kidney stones because antacids are loaded with calcium. And if you eat too much of them, that is one of the side effects of long-term ingestion of antacids.
That should tell anyone, though, that if you have to be on antacids, your belly, your stomach is already hurting. It's been hurting for quite a while. And because if you do eat something wrong once in a while, that's okay. You can live with that. But if it's repeatedly happening all the time, then there's a real issue going on.
Are you one of those people that have to put bricks under the head of your bed to lay at an angle so the acid doesn't sit up in your esophagus?
Yeah, no.
There's something wrong.
Yes.
Bricks aren't going to fix it.
Back to what we were saying, then it's like putting a safety pin on that hem we talked about earlier. That's what your antacids are like. Instead of sewing it, the hem, the rip is still there from not taking care of the problem to start with. And that is the same as digestion. Your digestion tract, it isn't fixed, and it's screaming. It's saying help. I just think it's fascinating how our body warns us ahead of time by getting our attention. And here's a few examples. Headache. We all know we're either hungry, we're dehydrated, we've been on the computer too long, and we can try to fix that. And if it's a toothache, okay, maybe we need dental repair, or maybe it's inflammation of the gums or abscess. So you try to take better care of your teeth. That's the key.
You don't just go to the dentist every time you have a problem. Think about this. How many times do you actually go to the dentist a year?
If you have to.
Or the proper thing is to go every however many months for your deep cleaning and to do the preventive maintenance on it. Do you really want to wait till there's a problem?
Right.
And make sure you brush your teeth. Make sure you floss your teeth. And then you don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Our bodies, they're actually fun. If we just would listen to it, and you could think joint or muscle aches and cramps no, they're not fun to have, but they're telling you probably need potassium. And a lot of times, well, I'm not a doctor again, but they're almost like a precursor to heart conditions and things like that if you're low in potassium. But these are all those little teeny warnings. And a stomach ache, you look back, you say, well, what did you eat? And heart palpitations. It's probably stress or too much coffee. But we are always self-diagnosing ourselves. We have to, or we'd be at the doctor's office all the time. We try to straighten out what we might be doing wrong, and we know instinctively what makes our bodies happy or unhappy. Then, and only then, do we even try to fix ourselves before we make an appointment at the doctor's. We try first to see if our changes are enough before we make that call. And why do we push ourselves to the limits?
That's a darn good question. Why do we do that?
I don't know. But when we do, that's the only time, it really does get our attention. Maybe you've never thought of looking at yourself this way before. Maybe we just always say, well, this is part of life, but this doesn't have to be part of life. We all know what we are doing to ourselves. Even if it was that you vomited, we say, what in the world did I eat? Was the food bad and I didn't know it? I mean, how violent does our bodies have to scream at us before it gets our attention? I'm personally glad we get the chance to change before the big sicknesses could ever hit. I don't think people who come down with diseases such as diabetes, heart conditions, or cancer, I really don't think they're surprised when they hear the dreaded news by the doctor that they have something bad, especially when they have seen the warnings all along. I think we might say instead, wow, I'm really lucky I got away with it this long, and I don't even see how that was possible with me not taking the steps I needed to when I saw what I could have or I should have done to help myself. But okay, all of this that we're talking about, that was yesterday.
Yeah, let's put the bat down. Let's not beat ourselves up anymore.
Just trying to bring to light these things that we have taken for granted all along. Just like the silly commercials we're listening to, we're thinking that's normal. It isn't normal. But now today, it is a new day, and we can have a new hope, and wherever we're at, we can begin again.
Luckily, if you do look carefully, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. You're not stuck in the darkness for the rest of your life.
And that is what's so great about life. Every day is a new one, and every day we can learn something completely new to bring to our lives and to other people's lives.
Provided we open our minds and allow ourselves to try to learn.
Yes.
There's not a single human being on this planet that knows everything. Some of us think we do, but
no, we have to sometimes really be scraping at the ground, to try to get back up to find the answers. And that's one thing when I say find the answers, because mainly the help is through other people. And so I say it's really funny how we meet people in our lives at times, the ones that were sent to you from God, because years ago when I sold cars, I met a woman from New Jersey. She was quite religious and she was full of wisdom, and she was here because her son was skiing and her car broke down. Or I say, was that why? I wonder, because of the help she was to me. While she was waiting to see if her Mercedes was fixable, she sat in my office picking out her new car. In that time, we had quite a long conversation. In the end, though, they were able to fix her car. And I never saw her again. And I don't remember all of the details of what she was saying that was so helpful to me, but I knew her words were extremely helpful at that time. Years later, on and off, we kept in touch, but she never really talked about her job. She talked about her charity work and people in general. And then one day she said she was moving to Georgia because a wonderful job opportunity came up. And here she was a judge. I couldn't believe how she could be a judge. She looked like a model. Just never would I have ever guessed that. The way she was in her spirit, and from listening to what she does every day, I just found that so hard to believe, because how could she have such mercy and fairness on people that probably came before her time after time for the same old crimes? How could she even decide who was telling the truth or not? And
that was her job.
And that was her occupation. And her occupation and her spirit, everything just all rolled into one. She would try to help people with fundraising, and for many people who were in dire straits from hurricanes, or whoever she could help for whatever reason. Do you see why I say, I wonder why she came into my office that day? Has anyone come into your life to help you in some way that you overlooked? Or maybe you were sent to help someone else's life? I feel we need to look into people more who are in our lives right now, and also look into people we meet, because this person I only ever saw once. She was quite a godsend to me. And years later, she sent me a book, and it was just a few years ago, and had my name engraved on it, leather bound.
Wow.
To keep it for life. And it was, of course, inspirational. And I'm telling you this because from that book of wisdom is where I get much of my information to talk about on this show. And in fact, it helped give me the courage to do this show. And the author of this book said how and why she wrote it. And this book I was given came about because she said she would sit down every day and listen to what God had to say, and then she would write it down.
That's very important. Listening. How many of us, and I'm just as much to blame, will talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, but how many of us actually listen?
The funny part is, how many of us really listen to ourselves? Try it. And that's what this book was telling me about, and I'll explain more how I found it out. She said anyone could do that.
Anyone could listen.
Anyone could listen. Anyone could sit down, and she said, and you would hear. If you tried yourself, you could hear, and if you would be quiet and concentrate long enough to hear what you needed to know, that anyone could hear. So from this habit, every day she wrote, and every day she wrote became this book. Her story was amazing, and now, of course, it is a #1 seller that I am sure almost everyone has heard of. It's called Jesus Calling. I said to myself, if that works for her, and she said it will work for anyone, then I'm trying. And it works. When I read months later what I wrote earlier, I say to myself, I am not smart enough to have come up with what I'm reading. This woman is right. And this is a fun thing to try. If anyone doubts what I'm saying, you can try it just to prove it doesn't work. That's how skeptical I was. You just have to shut yourself in a quiet place, and you need to shut your own mind up. And so you know it isn't your own 2 cents. that you're writing down. And that is very hard. You'll try it a couple times, and then you'll say, no, this is what I'm thinking. So you get to a stage, and it doesn't take very long. Not when you're serious. She said, whatever word comes to you, write it down. It doesn't matter if it's boat, if it's ladder, anything that doesn't even make any sense to you. So what she said is, even if it doesn't make sense to you, write it down, because the words will follow, and it eventually will make sense. And it does. Something I wrote.
Why don't we use that as a teaser?
Okay.
Something that Terry wrote using this. We're going to take a quick break. Make a Change, 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm Tom Jenkins, along with your host, Terry Martin. And if you have any questions for Terry, give her a shout at 866-646-3374 or check out our webpage at MaderiClinicals.com. Again, this is Make a Change on 94.3 FM The Talker. We'll be right back. Maderi Clinicals, a unique skincare company, has a complete skincare line for men and women. From anti-aging to glycolic and even a clinical line for sensitive skin, Maderi Clinicals is for you. Their number one product? Forgiveness. It's the secret to younger looking and younger acting skin. You can experience the transformation with fewer wrinkles, firmer skin, and a more youthful, radiant complexion. Treat aging, sun damage, rosacea, and more with Forgiveness. Plus, buy one bottle of Forgiveness, get one lip enhancing complex for free. Forgiveness. Apply it morning and night and keep forgiving and forgetting all through the day. Make a change with Maderi Clinicals. Balance, restore, look, and feel new. Maderi Clinicals, a complete skincare company for men and women. Call 866-646-3374 or check out MaderiClinicals.com. MEDERI Clinicals.com. Welcome back to Make a Change on 94.3 FM The Talker. I am Tom Jenkins, along here with your host, Terry Martin. And the show is all about making changes, internally, externally, whatever it takes, health-wise, diet-wise, skin-wise, exercise-wise, whatever you need to make the change to better yourself from this point forward. And if you missed the last break, what we're talking about now is Terry came in contact with a woman who we later find out is a judge who's affected her life in a tremendously positive way. And the woman is like thousands of miles away, but still affects her life today. And you never know who's going to be put into your life when they're put into your life. And you're never going to know if you are put into somebody's life for whatever reason. Well, Terry's actually realized that this woman was put into her life for a specific reason. And this judge actually sent her a book. And what the book was about was a woman who, it was a woman, you said, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that she would sit down in peace and quiet every day for a certain period of time and then just write down whatever was popping into her head. She was listening. She wasn't talking. She wasn't thinking. She was listening, and she was writing stuff down. And all of the stuff that she wrote down became this book. And so Terry reads the book and says, you know what? This is working for her. She says this can work for anybody. I'm going to try this. This is a fun thing to try. I'm going to try it. And she was just about to tell us a couple of the things that she's been writing in this book before I cut her off. So why don't we pick it up from right there? Was something that you had written in not even book, but just these exercises that you do daily.
And before I get into that, I want to say, you might wonder, what does all of this have to do with spring cleaning? It has everything, because it's cleaning the cobwebs out of your mind.
Right.
Get your mind thinking differently.
To go back to the beginning, is that the main problem stems in our mind, and we need to try to change that to the best of our ability before we can make external changes.
And what came to my mind on this one day was, you have to learn to leave much behind. Because whenever you feel rejected or dejected, you carry it. And this creates heavy burdens. And this could be why you're always tired. You let people's rejections beat you up. Don't keep waiting for the perfect day to turn your life around. Start right now, and you will also not be as tired, because procrastination is very draining.
It's very stressful, and yeah.
And everything comes back around in a full circle. Whatever you sow, you reap. And when you think this way, the choices you make, you think about a lot more carefully. And you can't be so afraid of so many things in life, especially not people's words. Ask yourself why you're feeling why you're fearing. Or actually feeling.
Either or, sure.
What you're fearing, and then step out of the crowd and do it anyway.
That's a really powerful word, is fear.
Oh,
Very powerful. Absolutely. Fear makes us do things we don't want to do. And fear also prevents us from doing things that we do want to do. And a lot of times, we don't even know it's a fear. We're just like, oh, no, I don't like that. Why? Well, because it makes me feel bad. Why? Well, because I don't like to feel bad. Why? You know, and I mean, I know exercises that I've done to find certain fears is, you know, I come to the conclusion that I'm full of fear. I don't want to be abandoned. You know, I don't want to be left alone to live in a cave somewhere, you know, and I have no idea that this fear of abandonment.
Yes, and sometimes when you're talking about fear, it's really anger underneath, but anger is usually produced by fear.
I was just going to say, yeah, the anger is stemmed from the fear. Yes, and if you really take a look at yourself, we're riddled with it. All of us are. We're riddled with some sort of fear. And the big thing, I like what you said here, is ask yourself, why are you fearing what you're fearing? Why?
And also, whatever your spirit is telling you to do it. But if something you're thinking of doing doesn't seem quite right, then it isn't.
We all have that. We know the difference between right and wrong. We know what's good. We know what's bad. So you can make the right decision, you know, always make the right decision if you go with, as you say, go with whatever the spirit's telling you, whatever.
Right.
I call it my gut, you know.
Yes, you're right. Or it's another little warning from your instincts. And then sometimes, if in doubt, don't do it. Even though it could be the right thing, it just could be the wrong time.
That's a good way to look at it.
So, but if we keep pushing for something that doesn't seem right from day one, then it probably isn't. And listening to ourselves and trusting in ourselves more could be a good thing, because were you going to say something?
Yeah. Keep in mind, too, is that a lot of times, this is from my experience, what I think is the right thing, I make the decision, I follow through with it, and it blows up in my face. It doesn't mean that it was at the wrong time. It doesn't mean it was the wrong thing. Let me rephrase it. It doesn't mean it's failure. You know, okay, I actually just learned something here. So was I really meant to fail at that? Probably, because now I learned, don't do that again. That hurts, or whatever the case may be. You know, a perfect example, it's kind of goofy example, but of what we're talking about here is, I just love chicken wings. They're so bad for you. They're just terrible, but I love to eat them. Dip them in the terrible blue cheese, even eat the chunks of bad. How do I know? Bad. My body tells me every time I do it. But I'm an idiot, and I'll go do it again. But that's the perfect thing. It's like my brain tells me, no, don't eat those, dude. Don't eat those, dude. They're not. Or here, eat a couple.
Exactly.
Don't eat.
Don't say for
a
never
whole
again.
Dozen. just have a couple, because the next morning I'm looking at that bottle of antacids again, going, do I want kidney stones? Or you know, but failure to me is not a bad word.
No, but a lot of times we ask everyone else for their opinion, and many times we go against what we're really thinking. We do what they told us, to only find out we should have done what our gut feeling was telling us in the first place, because it was right. And we need to believe in ourselves more, because when we feel good and full of strength, it helps us even feel more confident.
Absolutely.
So now let's talk about a few ideas to help us feel better, to do just that. And spring cleaning for bodies is a great place to begin. I mean, why not? I'm mainly talking about our bodies, but some of the hints and tips I'm going to be speaking of today will have to do with the environment we live in also, because we do know many household cleansers can be very toxic to breathe in or to even get on our skin.
I like how you tied this into the house spring cleaning again.
It's from the top to the bottom, right? Top of your head to the tips of your toes.
Externally and internally.
And, well, today I'm going to give you the lemon lowdown.
Now I see why you brought me a lemon. I thought because you knew I put it in my water, but no, you had ulterior motives, Terry Martin.
I did. And once again, I'm always trying to do things or bring things up that aren't costly. Now, lemons for sure aren't costly, and they can change your life so much. But I have a feeling when we're done with this show, you'll want to run out and buy a case of lemons, because, I take that back. A case of organic lemons.
Organic lemons,
and
yes.
So these are only tips, hints, and suggestions.
And of course, not medical advice.
Right.
Neither one of us are doctors.
No. Lemons in the juice can be very powerful because they're packed with nutrition and bursting with flavor, as we all know that.
Tastes great on fish.
Yeah. For many years, lemons have been known for their ultimate multitasking household uses, such as cleaning agents and natural room fresheners, beauty treatments, and of course, a staple in nutrition.
Here's a little hint. If you want to clean the inside of your microwave,
Yeah?
take a lemon, cut it up in a couple little pieces, put it in a bowl with just a tiny bit of water, put it on high for a couple minutes to get the water boiling with the lemon, and then take the bowl out, take a damp paper towel, and you can wipe the inside down because of all the steam from the lemon juice. Just
It is amazing. And there's a couple different areas I want to talk about. And the first one I want to say is let's start with the beauty and grooming uses, because we'll see how you can save money and save your health by using tried and true experiences that our ancestors used lemons for. You know, how about this one? I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but I know the baby boomers have. It's summer highlights for your hair, or how to prevent dandruff.
Honey, I have no hair. I have absolutely no hair on my head.
Okay.
This is 2 shows in a row where I'm getting bald cracks. No, I'm kidding. I'm
You're
kidding.
You might want to cut that part out.
We'll get that in post-production. Don't worry.
Okay. But
I made her lose her.
you did. You made me lose what I was
You were
thinking.
talking about
but baby boomers.
right.
We know what it was to go out in the sun after we sprayed our hair with lemon, and we wanted those highlights. And I was laughing when I was writing this down to talk about today, because my hair was dark brown, totally dark brown. So you try to put, highlights, lemons, you get red. But anyway, you can also. This is something I haven't tried, but I'm going to. It's soak your fingernails in lemon juice for 10 minutes and rinse them with warm water after that, and it helps strengthen and brighten them and take the yellow out of your fingernails, especially, women, if you have your fingernails stained from the fingernail polishes. Mm-hmm. And then I was also laughing because I was thinking, wow, you could do your toenails too, but
Sure.
When you do your fingernails, you put them in a little bowl of water, and I just can't see how you get your toes.
You look kind of silly standing on a table, too.
Dipping your toes in the water. This is kind of funny. It could be tricky. And if your hands smell like garlic, you can rub them with lemon juice. Or if your hands are stained with berries, you can get the stains off with lemon juice.
I'm an angler. I like to go fishing a lot. And the way I handle certain fish, I get the fish slime on my hands from the fish I catch, and especially if I take any of them home to clean them. Well, you get that fish stench on your hands. And I mean, there have been times where I've stood in the shower afterwards and I've scrubbed, and I cannot get that fishy smell off my hands.
Did you ever try this?
Yes. Lemon juice. A little bit of lemon juice in my hand. Like, I'll squeeze a quarter of a lemon into my hand, get the juice all over my hand, little bit of the soap, and then just...
Well, hopefully a fish hook didn't stab you anyplace, because...
Yeah, that would hurt.
If you get lemon juice, that hurts.
But no, just pure lemon juice right on my hands, and I would rub them together. And believe it or not, sometimes I would even mix in a little bit of butter, would kind of get the scent of fish off my hands as well.
I've never heard that.
Just a little bit. Yeah, and that's always worked for me.
Well, it is amazing how simple, healthy lemons can change so many things in your entire household. But so let's cover the household cleaners now. And one is, for the furniture and floors, you can make your own polish with simple lemon juice, lemon oil, and olive oil. And I have done this, and it does work. It smells great. Your house smells nice and fresh.
And when your 1.5-year-old is gnawing on the edge of the table, you don't have to worry about any chemicals getting into her mouth.
That's another use I didn't think of, or that it would help. Mm-hmm. But even the stovetops, they can be cleaned with lemon juice and baking soda. And lemon juice will even cut the soap scum on the bathtub tiles, because I have tried many cleaners that don't work, and you're in the shower coughing because you can't even breathe. Mm-hmm. They're so strong. Now, I've saved the best for last, and that is cleansing the body with lemons. And how simple it is to, first thing in the morning, squeeze a half of a lemon in a cup of medium to warm water and start your day off with cleansing your liver. I do this every day, and I have done it for a few years now. This is the best and the easiest spring cleaning I could recommend to anyone.
And as you saw at the beginning of the show, whenever I fill my bottle with water, I put in a couple chunks of organic lemon, and that's how I drink my water all day.
I'm so proud of you, Tom, because you really do what you say.
I try. I try. But yeah, and that's how I've been drinking, because I'm not a fan of just plain old water. I need a little bit of flavor. And just a couple chunks of lemon in there. It's delicious.
Mm-hmm. Well, the information I'm sharing with you now comes from a Healthy Life article. And it said, lemons are vitamin C rich citrus fruits that enhance your beauty by rejuvenating your skin from within and bringing a glow to your face. And one of the major health benefits of drinking lemon water is that it paves the way for losing weight faster. Isn't that fantastic?
That is.
And thus acting as a great weight loss remedy. So why spend all that money on weight loss gimmicks? I mean, look what all lemons alone can do, and it tastes good. Well, lemon water flushes out body toxins and is extremely beneficial for the body. I mean, we've all heard these things, but a little refresher course doesn't hurt anything, because warm lemon water serves as the perfect good morning drink, as it aids the digestive system and makes the process of eliminating the waste products from the body easier. It prevents the problem of constipation and diarrhea by ensuring smooth bowel functions.
And I'm going to stop you right there.
Good place.
Not because of what you just talked about, but because the clock is flashing at me, saying that we got to take one more break. You're listening to Make a Change with Terry Martin. I am Tom Jenkins on 94.3 FM The Talker. And when we get back, health benefits of drinking lemon water. Don't go away. Mederi Clinicals, a unique skincare company, has a complete skincare line for men and women. From anti-aging to glycolic and even a clinical line for sensitive skin, Mederi Clinicals is for you. Their number one product? Forgiveness. It's the secret to younger looking and younger acting skin. You can experience the transformation with fewer wrinkles, firmer skin, and a more youthful, radiant complexion. Treat aging, sun damage, rosacea, and more with Forgiveness. Plus, buy one bottle of Forgiveness, get one lip enhancing complex for free. Forgiveness. Apply it morning and night and keep forgiving and forgetting all through the day. Make a change with Mederi Clinicals. Balance, restore, look, and feel new. Mederi Clinicals, a complete skincare company for men and women. Call 866-646-3374 or check out MederiClinicals.com. MEDERI Clinicals.com. Welcome back to Make a Change on 94.3 FM The Talker. I am Tom Jenkins, along with your host of Make a Change, Terry Martin. Show's all about making changes internally, externally, whatever you need to do to better yourself from this point forward in your life. And we're talking this segment, and actually the last part of the show here, about one of my favorite topics. It's got something to do with food, but lemons, and how powerful lemons really can be, and how it flushes out your system, how it's good to balance your pH, how it just all of these wonderful things, cleaning agents. Just lemons are awesome. And at the very beginning of the show, Terry brought me a lemon. So are you insulting me? Are you calling me a lemon? No, it's all about the show, this part of the show with lemons. And we're going to start to talk now about the health benefits of drinking lemon water. And that's exactly where we left off.
Yeah, this is a little more on the serious side of all of the issues of the health benefits of drinking the lemon water. And it could seem a little boring to some people for me to try to go down this list, but each person listening has maybe a different problem or issue or something that they would like to see if lemons could help. So
And all this
which one's yours?
And all this information is coming from an article called Healthy Life.
Yes. And
the good thing about this is that, of course, there is a very long laundry list here of all the different things. If you want to get a good copy of it, you want to take a look at it, you can always go to MederiClinicals.com. And when the show gets posted up on her webpage, you can click there and you'll have the newsletter that comes weekly. You have access to the show again if you want to listen to it again. But also the links to these articles will be right there, too, so you can actually go take a look at them yourself.
Right. Okay, well, the first one we'll talk about is that lemon protects the body's immune system against deficiencies. And lemons contain pectin fiber, which is very beneficial for colon health and also serves as a powerful antibacterial. You know, I was even wondering at this point, I wonder if you could take maybe distilled water and squeeze lemon in it, and then instead of those antibacterials that you keep spraying whenever you're at a park, or just carry that in your purse. I wonder if that would do the same. Just a thought, but maybe someone has a comment on that. They could email me. Lemons balance your pH levels in the body, and that's what Tom and I were talking about a little while ago. Lemons seeming so like they were acidy but they turn your body alkaline when you eat them.
And there's so much acid in everything else we eat already.
You wouldn't think this, but
a good pH is a good balance, actually helps the immune system as well. And of course, I know that from speaking to my doctor. And lemons are a good way to balance that pH because they are alkaline.
Mm-hmm. And having warm lemon juice early in the morning helps flush out the toxins. And that's really great when you're trying to heal or even when you're trying to lose weight.
Why do you think they always say put lemon in your tea?
You know, I never did that very much. I didn't like it. I like the cream and the, but I am changing.
I put raw honey and lemon in my tea.
That's good. Yeah, that's one thing that, just like the honey lemon lozenges or
the cough drops.
Yeah. So it says that it has a synergizing effect on the body as it helps soothe the digestive system.
And this is drinking lemon water. Mm-hmm.
And, as we keep talking here, we're talking about how it aids in the digestion and encourages the production of bile. Doesn't that seem kind of strange when you already are kind of upset in your belly to think that a lemon would help, even with, as I found later on this list, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but if you have heartburn or indigestion, make your lemon water a little bit stronger, and that said that it would take your heartburn away. It's hard to fathom. But lemon also, it says it conditions and clenches the liver. In other words, what it does is it helps shake the liver. Doesn't that sound kind of strange? But it shakes off the poisons and toxins because it makes it, well, exactly what it says, clenches it. And we think of lemons only having vitamin C, but it's also a great source of citric acid, potassium, calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium. It helps prevent the growth and multiplication of pathogenic bacteria that causes infections and diseases. So it just, again, that movie that I was talking about earlier, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, they explain how a lot of what we're talking about right now, there's little cartoon parts throughout the movie, and they make everything so easy to understand. It helps reduce pain and inflammation in the joints and the knees as it dissolves the uric acid. And we all know that it helps cure the common cold. We've known that for years. And the potassium content in lemon nourishes brain and nerve cells. It liquefies the bile and also helps regulate the excess flow of bile. It strengthens the liver by providing energy to the liver enzymes when they are too dilute. I mean, some of this might seem a little boring to be listening to on the radio, but if you're not feeling good, all of this could maybe help you understand how it could help all the different parts of your body. Seems like it helps your liver quite a bit because it says it helps balance the calcium and oxygen levels in the liver. It can help, here we go, relieve the problem of indigestion and excess gas. And if in case of pregnancy or lactating women, lemon juice will help build strong bones in a child due to the calcium content. It says it helps dissolve gallbladder stones and other calcium buildups that are dangerous to the body.
That is perfect right there because that's what my urologist told me I'm allowed to drink. With the kidney stones I have, he said water or water with lemons. He goes, and occasionally have some lemonade.
On top of all of this inside, it says it is of immense benefit to the skin and it prevents the formation of wrinkles and acne. And remember how we talked one of our other shows about topical on the skin on the outside is 20 times even stronger. And I'm just wondering, maybe years ago when we would spritz our hair and go out and lay in the sun, maybe we could just spritz our bodies also with the lemon water when we're, sometimes you're out there and you just like that spray bottle and that season is coming up. I'm looking forward to that. Well, I'm going to try the lemon juice or the lemon water. I know that. But it also helps maintain the health of the eyes and helps fight against eye problems. It aids in the reduction of phlegm, the mucus produced by the body. And that's where I say, again, maybe that's why they put that in the honey lemon cough drops you were saying with the honey.
Maybe.
And it helps control the speeding of unhealthy bacteria in the gut. Clean that gut up. That's what we really have to do. It aids in the production of digestive juices. It helps purify the blood. And lemon juice helps replenish body salts. This one really surprised me, especially after a strenuous workout session. So put lemon water, lemon in your water bottle after a workout. And for years we all knew to gargle our sore throats with lemon water. Actually, I think we even used to use what was that, vinegar? Did they say vinegar water?
I was always told with a sore throat, warm salt water.
Oh, that, yes.
Warm salt water.
Yeah. Hey, you know what that tells me? It's a long time since I've had a sore throat that I had to gargle.
I'm just sitting here thinking about how long it's been since I've had a sore throat, like a sore enough throat where I needed some help. And I can't remember. I can't remember either.
So how simple is all of this for cleaning your body? The Springhouse cleaning. You just drink lemon water. I mean, that's a super fantastic cleanser. And it's a great new habit to begin. And the list goes on. I'm sure you can find a book about the uses for lemon. And if you can't find it, as again, we said you could email us and we'll give you the information.
Yep, just go to MaderriClinicals.com, MaderriClinicals.com, and click up for the newsletter. You get the newsletter,
Yes.
You can listen to the show, and your email is on your webpage, I'm presuming?
I should know that, but can I give it again right now just
Absolutely.
in case? It's Terry, Terry, at Mederi, Mederi, cosmetics.com.
Ah, okay.
So if you want me personally to talk to me, that's for sure the way to get to me.
Or you can also call 866-646-3374, 866-646-3374, and definitely get a hold of you that way as well.
Mm-hmm. One last thought that I had was, even in the summer, you know how I've always hated lemonade? And
Really?
I'm going to start drinking lemonade. But what I think I didn't like was that artificial. It's bitey. But when you make your own, that's what I'm going to do this year. But if you don't just want it plain blah, just the lemon in the water, don't add sugar, that's for sure. Or any of the aspartame or the sugar-free
Right, the sugar
substitutes, yeah.
Right.
But you could try a little honey, like you said earlier.
Raw honey. I always recommend raw honey.
We need a show on raw honey.
Oh, man.
On honey. We will do that.
We got to get some beekeepers in here.
Okay, are there any beekeepers out there?
If you're
Contact
a beekeeper,
me.
call Terry at 866-646-3374. I've got a boatload of questions for them, too.
Oh, I would love that. I do, too.
But I'm a big fan of raw honey. It tastes very different to me. I mean, I like honey, but when I taste raw honey, I know it's raw honey. I mean, you got to warm it up first because you can't get it out of the jar.
Okay, are you chewing on the wax, too? Do you ever get the hive?
No, the
Or
beekeeper.
the bee wax.
The beekeepers are usually really good at scraping that hard stuff off the top. But, you mix it up and warm it up, and I usually put that in with the lemonade as good as well. And instead of the sugar substitutes, you were going through with the honey and what else do you have?
Maple syrup. And
That's an awesome idea.
I haven't had a bag of white sugar in my house for probably 30 years.
Wow.
And I put maple syrup in my coffee. I put it in all my recipes, cookies, cakes. I've changed my life to have no sugar.
And again, we recommend like pure maple syrup.
Oh, and you know why? Yes, organic, pure. But the reason that they say maple syrup is so good is because the sugar, you know how we get a sugar high? Well, we don't get that with maple syrup. It's more of a leveling all the time. So you don't have the spikes. That's
Right.
what I'm trying to say.
Now, personally, I like the organic stevia or stevia. I don't even know how you pronounce that.
Well, you don't use much of that, do you?
No.
A little touch and it's gone.
Yeah, because one packet is like equivalent to 2 or 3 spoonfuls of sugar. I mean, it's very, very sweet, but I'll use that as well, or instead of the sugar or raw honey, which now I want a cup of tea with raw honey. You do this to me every week, Terry.
Well, after the show, I'm going out to lunch. And, you know, it's very hard to try to pick a lunch at a restaurant now. But when we talked about tea, I'm going to order tea, but I won't drink their tea. But I will ask for a lemon, and then I'll just squeeze that right in the cup,
Just
right
ask
there
for
at
a
the
cup of
restaurant.
hot water. Just ask for a cup
Well,
of hot
then they'll
water.
think I'm cheap. No,
Who cares what they think?
me.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe that'll be another show. How to get people not, how do you not care what people think?
Oh, you're right. That's what I just said. But I guess I'm thinking of the girl who's waiting on me, and she wouldn't get much of a tip. Well, I would just give her a bigger tip, even if I just do the water. That's what we could do. We could give her the extra tip for whatever the tea would have been,
Priceless.
so she knows you're not cheap.
Well, on that note, this has been an awesome show today. I'm keeping the notes that you're leaving here so I can use them for future references. And also, I'm going to try some new things with the lemons. And I thank you for bringing that information to me today. I don't care about the listeners. I just care about you bringing it to me. No, I'm kidding. Well,
Well, what do you think it did to me? I'm going to turn around and
perfect.
practice
This
what I
is
preach.
Make a Change with Terry Martin. I am Tom Jenkins on 94.3 FM The Talker. Give Terry a call, 866-646-3374. And we'll talk to you again next week. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you.